Good behavior had a half-life. Nova learned this in the late weeks of year 2 the way she learned humidity curves, not from theory, from repeated measurement under conditions that refused to stay stable. Public rank 4 did not end visibility management. It changed the equation. Before the practical examination, visibility had been something she spent deliberately, second on walls that posted, first in rooms that did not, corral cleared before head circuit, annex hours that looked like scholarship instead of architecture. After the examination, visibility was income. The academy paid her in standing and charged her in observation. She could not return to second-place camouflage in cohorts that had watched the hall go quiet. She could not perform small in faculty corridors where head's report had already traveled. She could perform careful. Careful was the word Toryn had upgraded from caution after Crane's pride became weather in the pipeline. Careful meant helping Leora with conductivity without demonstrating rank 4 compression at the annex whiteboard. Careful meant shelving texts for Mara without letting the motion become spectacle. Careful meant eating lunch in the scholarship section with ordinary noise while her private ledger carried 19 anchor nodes, 14 cipher acquisitions in memory, 1K, vain entry humming at Bay 4 Tier 2, and 7 researchers held in Toryn's drawer without names. The half-life problem was simpler and worse. She had performed rehabilitation long enough that kindness toward Pren's failure mode logs felt automatic. She corrected Seelan's notation error in the corridor without calculating threat cost. She held the library door for a first year whose eyes carried the particular or rank 4 produced in people who still believed rankings described ceilings instead of costumes. Each act was still strategy. Each act was also becoming her. She noticed the drift at breakfast on day 312 when Sierra watched her refill Mara's cup and said nothing until the table cleared. Sierra said, "You're not calculating." Nova said, "I'm thirsty." Sierra said, "You're kind when you're thirsty now." Nova filed the observation without answer sufficient for witness template. Kindness without calculation was either growth or the deepest camouflage she had ever worn. She could not yet determine which. Crane made the question expensive. His note arrived on cream stock the morning after Toryn's Thursday, not the Thursday of pattern and folio, the Thursday before, the one where Nova had left with humidity homework and 3 notes spoken aloud and 16 held in memory. Crane's note was shorter than the post-examination invitation. Family dinner. Vethan residence. 7th hour. Standing conversation. Not request. Schedule. Nova read it twice in the corral alcove, where sound did not carry to the catalog desk. Family dinner was worse than office tea. Office tea had institutional borders. Family dinner had godfather temperature and no proctors pretending to read ledgers. She replied with courtesy and a time confirmation because refusal would file as ingratitude and ingratitude in Crane's pipeline became narrative. She did not tell Toryn before sending the reply. Telling before acting was confession when acting was survival. She told Toryn after, in the corridor outside his office when the line of students discussing conductivity had moved to the stairwell. Toryn said, "When?" She said, "Tomorrow 7th hour." His face did not change. His pen stopped. He said, "What he will want." Not question. Assessment. She said, pride restated. Standing pathways. Doors language. Possibly advancement notation for year 3 track. Possibly sponsor language for archives. Archives without restricted name. He said, "What you will give." She said, "Performance." Gratitude calibrated. No map. No catalog. No 7 names I do not have yet. He looked at the ceiling. He said, "Perform good behavior so long you forget where it ends." She said, "I'm aware." He said, "Awareness is not armor." She said, "Procedure." He accepted that the way he accepted humidity variance, filed, not solved. He said, "Eat before you go." Crane's table makes hunger look like nerves. She said, "I'll eat." The Vethan residents sat in the capital's old archivist quarter where stone buildings pretended they had always been libraries and the streets narrowed to discourage carriages and encourage the feeling that knowledge lived in walls instead of people. Nova dressed for dinner the way she dressed for examination, approved presentation at edges, private ledger locked behind ribs. The attaché from the embassy met her at the academy gate. Not escort. Witness with plausible deniability. The attaché said, Lady Nova. She said, scholar student. The attaché almost smiled. Almost. The walk took 20 minutes. Capital inscription lights pulsed low-calibration heartbeat along the route. She felt node correlations without looking, catalog desk, northeast loop in the academy's distant hum, embassy receiving hall in summer memory, garden retaining wall when the wind turned east. 19 notes. Connected infrastructure. Not named. Naming was proof insufficient. Crane opened the door himself. That was the first tell. Archivists of his rank did not open doors for students unless the warmth was the point. Vethan went alone. Warm when alone was more dangerous than warm in galleries. He said Nova. Not lady. Not Grand Archivist's protege. Nova. Godfather Grammar. She said Grand Archivist. Title for the attaché's report. He said, come in. The residence smelled like tea and old paper and the particular cleanliness of spaces where nothing was allowed to look lived in except the study, which looked lived in with curation. Dinner was 3 courses and no unnecessary witnesses. Crane's housekeeper moved like furniture. The attaché ate in the kitchen by arrangement Nova understood without being told. Privacy was gift. Privacy was leverage. Crane poured wine she did not drink. He said, Head's report is favorable with caution. She said, I read the summary. He said, the caution is affection. She did not smile. Affection from Head was clipboard geometry. He said, you gave the hall honest work. She said, I gave the examination what it required. He said, same thing. Not same thing. Requirement was survival. Honest was architecture. She had filed this exchange before in his office with tea barely touched. Repetition meant the pipeline wanted the sentence lodged. She said, thank you for attending. He said, I would not have missed it. Visible pleasure remembered in his eyes. Proud. Problem. She ate the second course because Toryn had said eat and hunger at Crane's table filed as nerves. Crane said, Year 3 notation track opens advanced equivalency review. Faculty sponsor required for certain archives. Archives again. Doors again. Rank 5 language wearing Year 3 clothing. She said, Scholar Toryn supervises my channel. He said, I know. He said, I would sponsor standing where review requires blood or trust. Blood or trust. Family grammar. She said, I perform what review requires. He said, you perform small in rooms that do not matter and large in rooms that do. I am asking you to stop pretending the small rooms matter. Heat would have been easier. Heat filed as hostility. Calm was calibration. She said, the framework has ceilings. He said, the framework has editors. Editors unnamed. Vaulted circle unnamed in her mouth. She said, I'm learning which edits are weather and which are architecture. His eyes sharpened 1 degree. He said, your mother asked similar questions. Mother. Drawer copy. Magnificent. Incomplete. K. Vane held for review without bay mark spoken. She said, I'm trying not to ask them loudly. He said, loud is honest. He said, honest without standing is how researchers become gaps. Gaps. 7 researchers without names in Torryn's folio. Pattern without list. She kept her hands on her fork. Fork was anchor. He said, come to me when you need doors opened. 2nd time. 3rd if she counted the hall aisle. Doors offered with Godfather temperature. She said, I'll remember. She did not lean. Leaning was confession dressed as gratitude. He said, I am proud of you. 3rd time. Warmer each instance. More dangerous because earned. She said, thank you. The dessert course arrived. Crane spoke of Year 2 closing ceremonies the way institutions spoke of weather, inevitable, impersonal, requiring appropriate clothing. He did not mention Edwick. He did not mention Caden. He mentioned Rian once. Your father's reports are precise. Your brother's letters are improving. Theo. Brother asset. Summer documentation packet held in memory. Theo visit approaching in the pipeline she could read without calendar. Not tonight. Soon. Crane walked her to the door at 9th hour. He said, you are not your mother's mistake. She said, I know. She did not know what he meant by mistake. Mistake could mean cipher affinity. Mistake could mean unregistered acquisition. Mistake could mean daughter who survived when pattern said innovation should be destroyed within 2 years of publication. She filed all 3 without privileging one. The attaché fell into step 3 blocks from the residence. The attaché said, productive evening. Nova said, dinner. The attaché said, standing is dinner when Crane pours wine himself. She said, I'll file that. At the dormitory tower, Sierra was awake with witness template closed and eyes open. Sierra said, Crane. Nova said, proud. Sierra said, problem. Nova said, yes. Sierra said, you ate. Nova said, Toryn said, eat. Sierra said, you listened. Nova said, sometimes procedure includes fork. Sierra passed tea without performance. Tea was contact without quotation risk. Nova drink. Her hands were steady. Public face discipline held in private room because private was never fully private. She opened the notebook at the desk with the door locked and the folio closed. She wrote in the notebook, Day 312, Crane Family Dinner, Bethan Residence. Standing conversation, Year 3 equivalency, sponsor language for archives, doors offer restated. Sentence lodged, honest without standing becomes gaps. Mother referenced. Proud restated, third instance, warmer, problem filed. Good behavior drift noticed, kindness without calculation at breakfast. Sierra observed. Half-life question open, rehabilitation or camouflage. Public rank 4 visibility managed via careful. Private contact rejection compound held. Map 19 held. Catalog memory held. 7 names still withheld. Head pipeline ongoing. Caden distance not tonight. Year 2 late term. Season close visible. Year 2 was winding. Performance and person were indistinct at edges. She breathed until breath matched hum in her teeth. Not yet alliance, not yet confession, not yet 7 names, but enough for tonight. Procedure held. She slept in short cycles, dreamed of forks that filed as nerves and pride that opened doors she had not asked to need, and woke before the alarm. The work continued. Careful continued. The half-life continued, and she would measure decay and decide what to feed it next. That was morning's problem. She moved. Catalog memory changed how Nova walked through buildings. Before the breach, 20 minutes, memory only, perimeter fault, no artifacts, anchor nodes had been hypothesis with embassy summer confirmation and year 2 field tags. After catalog integration, nodes were not only connected. They were indexed. Restricted routing grammar gave names to hums her teeth had been carrying since year 1. Cluster B authentication subset linked practice hall foundation corner to catalog desk northeast loop with the same institutional hand that had shelved 14 cipher texts behind dangerous theory tags. Cluster C exception grammar linked sever restricted acquisitions to perimeter revision 7's partial patch and the below threshold whole pren still logged as open. Cluster vein R, her private tag, not catalog language, linked K, vein held for review to inscription garden retaining wall node 19 with 94% bind pattern exception gap. She did not say cluster vein R aloud. She used it in cipher shorthand when the fault database needed a file that love without access required. Caden returned to adjacency on a Tuesday when Forge compliance hours shifted and the library corral beside hers emptied with the particular timing that meant decision, not coincidence. 8 months of hostile observation had produced a log category without clean name. Forgiveness not offered. Alliance not requested. Watching not concluded. Different after dormitory doorway. Rank 5 legal path disclosed. Mother named without baymark. Inventory partitioned. 45 words that were true and insufficient. Tuesday he sat. Forged text open. Eyes on page. Attention elsewhere. Nova did not look up first. Looking up first was visibility. She shelved a theoretical text for Mara, cover and kindness, half-life problem filed, and returned to humidity variance notes that were legitimate homework and legitimate camouflage. Caden said, Bay 4. 2 words. Not greeting. Nova dry when deflecting. She said, tier structure is catalog metadata. He said, tier 2 is held for review. He did not say K, vein. He did not need to. Partition honored. She said, legal access requires standing. He said, rank 5. Not question. Arithmetic. Public rank 4 on paper now. Private contact rejection compound still separate secret. 2 away on paper. Standing was not paper. She said, faculty sponsor. Review board. Archives language without raid grammar. He closed the forged text 1 inch. Not closed entirely. Partial closure was Caden's version of courtesy. He said, October map showed northeast loop. October restricted subset map, 40 words in the Corel, no alliance, timing honored. She said, Cluster B shares authentication subset across foundation panels, pretending heritage maintenance. Precise. Analytical. No inventory beyond what October had already shared. He said, you have more than October. Not question. 8 months compressed. She said, I have reading. True enough to travel. He said, catalog desk hum matches practice hall corner. She did not confirm with nod. Nod was witness. She said, insufficient records are a scholar Toryn answer. He almost smiled. Almost. He said, you're using my map. She said, I'm using architecture. Silence. Capital Wind tested the Corel partition. His knuckles were white on the text edge, restraint not threat. Forge compliance had thinned his face since midterm week. Administrative punishment dressed as routine. He said, do not let pride make you small in the wrong direction. Second time. Sentence deserved more than 40 words. Pride making her small in the wrong direction would be performing gratitude for Crane's warmth while handing him 19 notes. Pride making her small in the wrong direction would be refusing standing that legal access required. Direction mattered. She said, noted. 1 word. Closure not offered. He opened the forged text. He said, I'm still watching. She said, I know. Hostile observation evolving. Not warmer. Not colder. Different. She filed the Tuesday exchange in memory encoding without notebook line. Writing created quotable artifacts, heads pipeline harvested. Memory encoding. Caden Corel adjacency restored. Bay 4 tier 2 framed as legal path. Cluster B foundation catalog link acknowledged without full map. October map referenced. Watching continues. No alliance. Pride sentence restated. Direction filed. At 3rd hour, she walked the Eastern Lecture Wing basement junction for legitimate maintenance variance homework Toryn had assigned as architectural curiosity. Note 11 hummed when she pressed palm to the junction panel. Catalog memory hummed with it. Restricted routing correlation. Same loop family as Node 1 practice hall corner. Same loop family as catalog desk northeast panel. She passed everyday head circuit required Corel clearance. She documented variance in approved notation, humidity, ambient mana, panel age, and documented correlation in cipher shorthand on a separate sheet Pren would receive as failure mode consolidation, not map confession. Pren said at the annex that evening, Toryn wants cluster B logs separated from combat practice. Nova said, separated how? Pren said, witness safe. Redacted for corridor travel. She said, then we redact. They worked 90 minutes. Combat practice cluster A logs on 1 stack. Authentication cluster B logs on another. Perimeter revision 7 partial patch on a 3rd. Below threshold grammar hole still open on all 3 because holes did not respect witness protocol. Pren said, Caden was at the Corel. Nova said, yes. Pren said, problem. Nova said, procedure. Pren nodded. Documentation channel holding. Trust network operational without alliance language. Syrah found her at the tower stairwell with the expression that meant witness template abstention had data behind it. Syrah said, he waited until you shelved for Mara. Nova said, logged. Syrah said, hostile observation at rest is still observation. Nova said, I know. Syrah said, Toryn Thursday. Nova said, 2 days. Syrah said, names. Nova said, not yet. Not yet was Hope wearing caution's coat. Wednesday brought head at the practice hall gallery rail during advanced theory review, clipboard restored, eyes on hands. Nova reproduced a rank 4 tolerance band on demonstration stone without self-adjusting loop, edges contained, core honest, presentation approved. Head wrote, she did not perform small. She performed what review required. Head said, Scholar Torrens channel produces consistent variance documentation. Not question. She said, scholarship students document failure modes. True enough to travel. He said, Grand Archivist Crane's standing conversation was favorable. She said, I perform courtesy. He almost smiled. Almost. He said, perform that. Thursday before the Thursday, not Toryn's office yet, the day between Nova integrated catalog clusters with anchor tags in the fault database at second hour with door locked. 14 cipher acquisitions mapped to cluster B and cluster D overlap, where dangerous theory tags repeated intentionality fingerprint at 91%. 3 sever school restricted texts mapped to cluster C exception grammar and combat curriculum absences Toryn had described as gaps without thesis. K. Vein subfolder linked to node 19 hum match and Bay 4 tier 2 location string memorized and text inaccessible at current credential. Catalog knowledge informed anchor work the way grammar informed inscription, not decoration load bearing. She drew lines in cipher. Node 1 to catalog desk to restricted northeast aisle. Node 11 to eastern basement junction to cluster B authentication subset. Node 19 to garden retaining wall to K. Vein hum correlation. 16 academy nodes held in memory without spoken aloud since Toryn's office subset. 12 embassy nodes held for summer. 19 total. Connected infrastructure embedded in buildings that pretended heritage. Not named vaulted circle. Naming was proof insufficient. Caden passed the library aisle at 4th hour without stopping. Eyes met once. Direct eye contact. 3 seconds. Filed. Not interpreted. Interpretation was visibility. Edwick watched from the catalog desk approach with 2 companions and a face that had learned broken rumors did not survive rank 4 mornings. Diminished but not extinct. Nova cleared her corral before his circuit completed. Head's filing instinct and Edwick's desperation shared geometry. Visibility's spike required clearance. At dinner Mara asked whether Crane's family dinner meant adoption rumors upgraded. Nova said study. Seelan asked whether Caden and Nova were speaking again. Nova said, adjacent. Syrah said, that's not an answer. Nova said, it's accurate. Torryn's Thursday arrived with rain on Capitol windows and corridor emptiness that felt arranged without proof. Nova sat with legitimate humidity homework and illegitimate attention. The folio in his drawer had gained weight since last Thursday. She could see it in the way he did not open the drawer immediately. Last Thursday had been pattern without names. Map subset without full confession. Rank 5 sentence without witness. This Thursday would ask for more. Toryn said, catalog informed anchor work. Not question. Assessment. She said, cluster B authentication correlates with nodes 1 and 11. He said, node 19. She said, K, vein hum match. 94% vine pattern exception gap. He did not say held for review. He did not need to. He said, Caden. She said, adjacent. Watching. No alliance. He said, Crane dinner. She said, proud. Problem. Doors language. Sponsor grammar for year 3. He looked at the ceiling. He said, next Thursday. Not question. Schedule. She said, witness protocol. He said, Toryn first. Always. She left with humidity homework and catalog cluster integration filed and Caden's 3-second eye contact filed and 16 notes held in memory and the folio's weight filed as pending. She wrote in the notebook, day 315, Caden Corel adjacency restored. Bay 4 tier 2, legal framing, cluster B link acknowledged. October map referenced. Watching continues, hostile log evolving. Catalog memory informs anchor notes. 1, 11, 19 correlated to restricted routing. Pren. Cluster B logs witness safe. Head. Practice hall review, Crane dinner noted. Edwick, Edge watch. Toryn. Next Thursday scheduled, names pending. Public rank 4. Private contact rejection held. Map 19 held. Hypothesis not yet named. Year 2 late term. Operational picture forming without alliance, Caden watching, Toryn's folio waiting. She breathed until breath matched hum. Not yet 7 names, not yet move, not yet rank 5, but enough for tonight. Procedure held. She went inside. The tower slept around her. The catalog slept in memory. The map slept in nodes pretending heritage. Tomorrow would ask for more, and she would calibrate when it did. She always did. Toryn closed the office door on a Thursday when the corridor was empty and the capital rain made windows weep condensation onto sills like the building was sweating. Nova sat with legitimate humidity homework and illegitimate attention. The folio was already on the desk, not in the drawer. That was the first tell. Toryn said, for years. Not greeting. He said, I did not start with a thesis. I started with gaps. Same sentence as last Thursday. Different weight. Last Thursday had been pattern disclosed and names withheld and map subsets spoken in a room with walls. This Thursday was protection calculus finally resolving toward witness. He opened the folio, spine anonymous, pages dense with his hand, acquisition dates in margins where institutions aid identity. He said 7 instances. 7 researchers. Innovation published. Innovation praised or ignored. Within 2 years, career destruction, institutional review, accident, disappearance from curriculum citation. Nova did not move. Movement was visibility. Stillness was listening. He turned to the first name. He said, Scholar Marate thus. Year -4 relative to my inquiry start. Conditional loop architecture for ambient variance. Published in the Journal of Applied Inscription. Cited twice. 18 months later, formal review for unregistered notation in witness demonstration. Career destruction via replication failure allegations she could not disprove without revealing cipher-complete grammar the framework classified archaic. He turned the page. He said, Dr. Henrik Coyle. Exception handler restoration in combat curriculum simulation. Published as supplementary materials. Praised in 1 footnote. 22 months later, institutional review, funding revoked, teaching post transferred to adjunct status without explanation in public record. Private record cites safety. Safety. Simulation scripture dressed as concern. He turned the page. He said, Archivist Lauren Vey. Sever school cross-reference in foundation authentication texts. Not published as innovation, published as correction. Ignored in public. 14 months later, disappeared from curriculum citation. Employment record shows retirement. Age 38. Retirement is a gap shape. Gap shape. Torryn's vocabulary without sever name. He turned the page. He said, Inscription theorist Pella dressed. Ambient mana coupling theory. Published. Praised in a seminar. 19 months later, accident in practice hall during unsupervised evening work. Fatality ruled equipment failure. Equipment failure is a gap shape when the equipment was notation. Nova's hands stayed on her knees. Knees were anchor. He turned the page. He said, Master Scholar Iron Hale. Authentication grammar in load-bearing foundation panels. Published under heritage maintenance framing. Praised by no one. 21 months later, forced retirement after mental fitness inquiry. Mental fitness inquiry is a gap shape when the grammar was correct. He turned the page. He said, Research Fellow Sondmarch. Below threshold routing in perimeter revision texts. Published as partial patch contribution. Praised by administration because patch is what administration wanted. 17 months later, institutional review, credentials suspended, reapplication denied without stated cause. Partial patch. Grammar hole persists. Pren's courage in a name Nova had not known until tonight. He turned the page. He said, Cipher Specialist Tomas Gray. Unregistered acquisition parallel, metadata only in my folio, text never accessed. Published innovation redacted before print. 11 months later, career destruction via plagiarism allegation inverted. He was accused of stealing his own notation after submission was altered in archive routing. Disappearance from curriculum citation within 1 semester. Unregistered. Parallel. K. Vein held for review without bay mark spoken. Nova's teeth hummed. He closed the folio. He said 7 names. For years. Pattern holds across notation schools. Same outcome shape. She said, Suppression dressed as transition. His eyes sharpened. Sever vocabulary without sever name. He said, I have told no one. She waited. He said, Telling without protection is volunteering for the pattern. Silence. Rain on windows. Condensation on sills. He said, I told you the pattern last Thursday. I withheld names because walls listen. She said, witness protocol. He said, Toryn first. Always. He said, now you have names. Not celebration. Burden distributed. She said, why tell me fully? He said, because you placed second deliberately for years, and then wrote rank 4 in a hall Crane attended, and you're still clearing your corral, and you document failure modes like your mother documented assumptions. Mother. Drawer copy. Magnificent. Incomplete. He said, because last Thursday you gave me 3 nodes and held 16, and I understood you have the map I have been building toward without language. She said, the pattern isn't random. He said, no. She said, innovation destroyed within 2 years of publication. He said, every time. She integrated without writing. Marate Thess replication failure. Henra Coil safety review. Lorne Vey retirement gap. Pella Drast equipment failure. Iron Hale mental fitness. Sond Mar suspended credentials. Tomas Gray inverted plagiarism. 7. Vault database gained 7 files without paper. Intentionality fingerprint elevated. Same hand or same institution. Vaulted circle unnamed in her mouth. He said, how much map? Not do you have map? How much? She said, I have a map of connected infrastructure embedded in academy buildings. His pen stopped. He said, complete. Not question. She said, 19 in academy jurisdiction. 12 embassy summer. Not on paper. Paper was seizure. Memory was procedure. She said, practice hall foundation corner, node 1, cluster B authentication, links to catalog desk northeast loop. Eastern lecture wing basement junction, node 11, same loop family, restricted routing correlation. Inscription garden retaining wall, node 19, K, vein catalog hum match, 94% bind pattern exception gap. Toryn's stillness changed. Thinking becoming operational picture. He said, connected infrastructure. She did not name it. Naming was proof insufficient. Naming was silence erased in Midnight Garden. Naming was vaulted circle in a notebook heads pipeline could harvest. She said, if I'm right about what it is, we're going to need people with rank and legal standing before we move. His breath left slow. He said, who? She said, I'll know when I have rank 5. His pen tapped once. He said, that's not an answer. She said, it's the only one that's true. Beat. Rain. Humidity homework on her knee untouched. He said, Sarah. She said, next witness. Not tonight. He said, Prenlogs failure modes, not names. She said, agreed. He said, Crane's standing conversation does not become confession because pride feels like family. Pride again. Problem again. She filed Toryn hearing Crane's language without Crane in the room. He slid the folio to the desk center. He said, you may read. Not copy. She read each page once. Memory encoding only. Marate Thess. Henra Coil. Lorne Vey. Pella Drast. Iron Hale. Sond March. Tomas Gray. 7 researchers destroyed after publication. 7 gap shapes. Same outcome. He returned the folio to the drawer. He said, Thursday continues. She said, careful continues. He said, caution upgraded. She said, how much? He said, enough that you do not show Ashvale the names. Enough that heads favorable with caution does not become inquiry with adjectives. Enough that year 2 close brings auditors who love documentation and you give them failure modes, not acquisition routes. Auditors. Year 2 winding. Arc close visible. She said, the below threshold hole still opens. He said, I know. He said, patched is what administration wanted. Same sentence Pren had carried. Partial fix. Grammar hole persists. Operational path still viable. She did not say breach. Breach was done. Memory was done. Next was standing. Next was doors. Next was move when rank 5 and legal access and people with rank existed to move with. She left with humidity homework and 7 names in memory encoding and 19 nodes held and 12 embassy held and rank 5 sentence lodged like weather. Pren found her at the annex that evening. He said, Toryn said you might need failure mode logs consolidated for faculty channel review. Nova said, did he say why? Pren said, he said year 2 close brings auditors who love documentation. She said, then we document. They worked 2 hours. Cluster A combat practice. Cluster B authentication. Perimeter revision 7 partial patch. Below threshold grammar holes still open. Live test logs redacted for corridor travel. No names. No 7 files. Pren said, quietly, is something coming? Nova said, something is always coming. He said, that's not comfort. She said, it's accurate. He nodded. Documentation channel holding. Sarah said at dinner, Toryn looked like he swallowed a folio. Nova said, humidity homework. Sarah said, you're bad at lying to me. Nova said, I'm good at delaying. Sarah said, when delay ends. Nova said, witness template. Sarah said, Toryn first. Nova said, always. Mara asked whether rank 4 meant private tutoring fees changed. Nova said, it means I help more carefully. She wrote in the notebook, Toryn 7 researchers full reveal. Marate thus, replication failure review. Henry Coyle, safety funding revoked. Lorne Vey, retirement gap age 38. Pella Drast, practice hall fatality equipment failure. Iron Hale, mental fitness forced retirement. Sondmar, credentials suspended post-patch. Tomas Gray, inverted plagiarism, unregistered parallel. For years pattern confirmed. Told no one, no institutional protection. Map shared, 19 Academy, 12 Embassy. Nodes 1, 11, 19 spoken. Connected infrastructure not named. Rank 5 before move. Pren, consolidated failure logs. Sarah, witness next. Year 2 winding. 7 names. 19 notes. Pattern and map aligned. Rank 5 was not ambition only standing, legal access, mother's text, doors crane offered with godfather temperature. She stood at the inscription garden retaining wall on the walk back from annex hours. Node 19 hummed under her palm. Catalog memory hummed with it. K. Vein held for review. 7 researchers destroyed after publication. Pride in an archivist's eyes. Heads caution. Cadence clock somewhere she could not see. Torryn's folio in a drawer with names now shared. The work continued. Year 2 was winding, not yet endgame, not yet confession to Crane, not yet alliance with Caden, but enough for tonight. Procedure held. She went inside. The tower slept around her. The map slept in memory. The 7 slept in memory and coding without paper. Tomorrow would ask for more, and she would calibrate when it did. She always did. Aftermath was not silence. Aftermath was redistribution. Weight moved from Torryn's drawer into Nova's memory and coding, and from pattern hypothesis into operational picture, with 7 faces attached. Nova woke on day 319 with Marate Thess's replication failure in the same mental shelf as Pella Drast's equipment failure, and understood for the first time that knowing names changed how buildings felt. Practice Hall Foundation Corner was no longer only Node 1 Cluster B authentication. It was where Pella Drast had died in a room that ruled notation equipment failure. Catalog Desk Northeast Loop was no longer only restricted routing correlation. It was where Tomas Gray's submission had been altered in archive routing before plagiarism inverted. The inscription garden retaining wall was no longer only K, vein hum match. It was where innovation and heritage camouflage shared a wall, and the institution pretended both were vines. She filed the emotional payload under operational necessity. Grief without standing was volunteering for the pattern. Toryn had said so. 7 researchers had proved so. Mourning brought advanced theory and ordinary costume and the particular discipline of not looking at Toryn in the corridor line, as if Thursday had rewired the building. He looked like a man who had swallowed a folio and digested it poorly. She looked like a student with humidity homework. Both performances held. Pren arrived at the annex with consolidated failure mode logs in 3 stacks and the expression of someone who knew something was coming without knowing its shape. Pren said, Faculty channel review next week. Nova said, witness safe. Pren said, already redacted. He said, cluster be separated. She said, good. He did not ask about Thursday. Pren's courage was documentation without curiosity that became quotation risk. They worked 90 minutes. Combat practice variants. Authentication subset anomalies at nodes 1 and 11 phrased as architectural curiosity. Perimeter revisions 7 partial patch with below threshold hole still open. No names. No 7 files. No acquisition routes. Pren said, Toryn marked 3 entries for senior review. Nova said, expected. Pren said, head's office requested copies. Nova's hands paused 1 stroke. Head's office was pipeline geometry. Pipeline geometry was crane adjacent without crane in the room. She said, witness safe copies only. Pren said, already. Trust network operational. Documentation channel holding. Sierra found her at the tower stairwell at 2nd hour. Sierra said, witness template. Nova said, not deployment. Sierra said, data. Nova said, 7 names. Toryn first. You second when protocol allows. Sierra's face did not change. Witness template face was training. Sierra said, gap shapes. Nova said, replication failure. Safety review. Retirement. Equipment failure. Mental fitness. Suspended credentials. Inverted plagiarism. Sierra said, mother. Not question. Nova said, parallel. Sierra said, held for review. Nova said, yes. Sierra said, when I witness. Nova said, when protection exists. Sierra nodded. Witness deferred. Not ignorance. Procedure. Caden was adjacent at the library corral by 3rd hour. Forged text open. Eyes on page. Attention elsewhere. The corral partition smelled like old paper and the faint chemical tang of forge ink, different from Cipher Ink's purple-black settling, different enough that she could orient by scent when eyes on hands was procedure. Nova did not initiate. Initiation was visibility. He said, you look like Thursday cost something. Nova dry when deflecting. She said, humidity homework is expensive. He said, that's not what I meant. Silence. 8 months compressed. 45 words at the dormitory door. Bay 4 Tier 2. Rank 5 legal path. Mother named. Inventory partitioned. Watching continues. He said, I'm still watching. She said, I know. He said, rank 5 is 2 away on paper. Paper was not honest. Standing was not paper. She said, legal access still requires sponsor and review board. He said, crane. 1 word. Nova said, proud. He said, problem. She looked at him. First direct eye contact since Thursday. 3 seconds became 5. Filed. Not interpreted. He said, do not let pride make you small in the wrong direction. 3rd time. Sentence was becoming architecture between them without alliance. She said, noted. He closed the forged text. He stood. He said, I'm not your enemy. Not alliance. Not forgiveness. Boundary statement. She said, I didn't file you as enemy. He said, you filed me as hostile observation. True. She said, accurate. He left with precision that understood sound traveled. No alliance yet. Nova sat with the absence longer than 40 words deserved. Hostile observation evolving towards something without clean name. Not enemy. Not ally. Log category upgrading. At the desk that night she integrated 7 names into the fault database without paper. Marit thus linked to cluster D dangerous theory tags and replication failure grammar. Henry Coyle linked to cluster C exception handlers and combat curriculum absences. Lorne Vey linked to sever restricted texts and foundation authentication. Pella Drast linked to practice hall node 1 and equipment failure gap shape. Iron Hale linked to heritage maintenance framing and mental fitness inquiries. Sand Mar linked to perimeter revisions 7 partial patch and suspended credentials. Tomas Gray linked to unregistered acquisition parallel and K, Bain subfolder without Bay mark on paper. Operational picture forming. 19 notes. 14 cipher acquisitions in memory. 3 sever restricted. 1K, Bain held for review at Bay 4 Tier 2 locked. 7 researchers destroyed within 2 years of publication. Same institutional hand. Vaulted circle unnamed. Intentionality fingerprint at 91% mature. She drew lines in cipher shorthand. Suppression pattern to anchor infrastructure to restricted routing to mothers held for review to rank 5 legal access goal. Move required people with rank and legal standing. She knew that when she had rank 5. Not before. Not with Caden adjacent and no alliance. Not with Crane Store's language and Godfather temperature. Not with heads favorable with caution becoming inquiry with adjectives. Head appeared at the catalog desk on day 320 morning, clipboard, stillness, filing instinct. Nova cleared her corral before his circuit completed. He said, Scholar Toryn submitted consolidated failure mode documentation. Not question. She said, scholarship students document variance. He said, the documentation is unusually complete. She said, incomplete records produce failures. He almost smiled. Almost. He said, Grand Archivist Crane's standing report recommends advanced equivalency continuation. She said, I perform what review requires. He said, perform that. Pipeline active. Crane adjacent without Crane in the corridor. Edwick passed with 2 companions and did not stop. Diminished but not extinct. Visibility spike managed via ordinary. Torryn's Thursday did not come that week. Thursday channel held in silence that meant caution upgraded, not abandonment. Nova brought him humidity variance cases and one architectural question phrased as academic curiosity, why authentication grammar appeared in foundation panels when ward security should have made such redundancy decorative. He looked at the ceiling. He said, insufficient records. She said, expected. Neither mentioned 7 names in the line. Names traveled in memory encoding and witness protocol deferred. In the fault database, she linked Sondmar's suspended credentials to the partial patch administration had praised, the same praise that meant grammar holes persisted and auditors saw only acceptable documentation when witness safe redaction held. In the fault database, she linked Tomas Gray's inverted plagiarism to Bay 4 Tier 2 without writing Bay 4 Tier 2, unregistered parallel, held for review, mother's subfolder gaining weight that love without access required. At dinner, Seelan said head's office had been copying scholarship annex logs. Seelan said information was currency. Nova said, then spend carefully. Mara said auditors loved documentation at year 2 close. Nova said, we document. Sarah said nothing. Sarah's silence was witness template abstention with data behind it. She wrote in the notebook at night, Aftermath Day 320, 7 names, integrated fault database, no paper. Operational picture, suppression pattern links anchor nodes, restricted catalog, K, vein parallel Tomas Gray. Caden, adjacent, not enemy, hostile log upgrading, no alliance. Pride sentence 3rd instance. Head, Toryn documentation copied, Crane standing report pipeline. Pren, witness safe logs submitted. Sarah, witness deferred until protection. Edwick, diminished, edge watch. Toryn, silence channel holding. Public rank 4. Private contact rejection held. Rank 5 before move. Year 2 winding. Aftermath was redistribution complete enough. Operational picture forming, Caden watching without alliance, 7 names without institutional protection, 19 nodes pretending heritage, pride in pipeline, heads clipboard. Torryn's folio in drawer with pages she had read once and held in memory encoding. Not yet move, not yet confession, not yet the hypothesis named, but enough for tonight. Procedure held. She breathed until breath matched hum. The tower slept around her. The pattern slept in 7 files without paper. The map slept in memory. Tomorrow would ask for more, and she would calibrate when it did. She always did. Year 2 did not end with ceremony. Year 2 ended with paperwork. Auditors who loved documentation the way Pren loved failure modes. Faculty channel reviews that translated scholarship annex logs into pipeline language. And heads clipboard making final circuits through halls that hummed 19 anchor nodes Nova could not explain in witness safe redaction. Day 324 brought the first auditor to the scholarship annex. Not head. Head's office adjacent. A woman with ink-stained cuffs and the stillness of someone who filed for living. She said, consolidated variance documentation. Pren said, 3 stacks. Witness safe. The auditor read for 40 minutes. She did not ask about cluster B authentication by name. She asked about humidity correlation methodology. Pren answered with the precision Nova had taught him, measurements, not maps. Nova answered when asked about advanced theory continuation, rank 4 parameters described as examination requirement, not sealing confession. The auditor wrote, Nova filed head pipeline, favorable with caution traveling through annex copies into senior review without adjectives yet. After the auditor left, Pren said, that was channel review. Nova said, that was head's geometry. Pren said, crane adjacent. Nova said, procedure. Documentation channel holding under scrutiny. Trust network operational at the edge of institutional appetite. Toryn sent a note through Pren without operational words. Note said, faculty channel review complete. Failure mode logs accepted. No acquisition routes flagged. Caution remains ordinary. Ordinary caution was survival. Nova burned the note after memorizing. Burning was procedure. Artifacts were seizure. Sarah's witness role clarified on day 326 in the Tower Common Room when Seelin repeated a corridor rumor about scholarship students documenting architecture they should not see. Seelin said, someone said you're mapping foundation panels. Nova said, I'm documenting humidity variance at panel surfaces. True. Incomplete. Sarah said, I witnessed the annex session. Methodology was variance. Nothing else. Witness template first deployment. Not full 7 names. Not map confession. Corridor rumor interception. Seelin blinked. Seelin said, okay. Information currency spent. Rumor filed. Sarah sat beside Nova after Seelin left. Sarah said, that's how it starts. Nova said, witness. Sarah said, Toryn first was Thursday. I'm second for corridor fiction. Nova said, thank you. 2 words. Precise. Sarah passed T. T was contact without quotation risk. Head requested a final supplementary review on day 327, not inquiry, review, the softer architecture of institutions that had already decided something and wanted the decision filed cleanly. His office smelled like paper that had never been wrong in public. He did not offer tea. He offered the slate. He said, reproduce rank 4 tolerance architecture. Witnessed. No continuous loop unless examination requires. Examination was passed. Requirement was pipeline. Nova took the stylus. She wrote tolerance bands with edges contained and core honest and presentation approved. The inscription held. Head watched without clipboard for the first minute. Then clipboard returned. Filing restored. When the stroke completed, he said, Scholar Torrens channel produced acceptable documentation. Acceptable was Head's warmth. She said, scholarship students document failure modes. He said, Grand Archivist Crane submitted year 3 advancement notation recommendation. Not surprise. Pipeline weather. She said, I perform what review requires. He said, review requires you stop pretending the ceiling is a lid you accidentally opened. Heat would have been easier. Calm was calibration. He said, I am submitting a final year 2 report. She said, I know. He said, do not give me adjectives I cannot file. She said, I'll perform approved notation. He almost smiled. Almost. He said, perform that. She left with slate dismissed and final report already writing itself above her like weather. Crane's note arrived the same afternoon. Shorter than family dinner invitation. Theo visit. Inscription garden. Family courtesy. 2 hours. Proctor sightlines. Attaché present. Day 331. Set up toward brother asset. Set up toward documentation packet and humidity branch, and the word between them that held manor hills and garden drills, and the box under the 3rd planter. Not yet. Soon. Nova replied with courtesy and time confirmation. She told Toryn in corridor line. Toryn said, perform careful. She said, how much? He said, enough that Theo receives grammar not map. Enough that attaché reports family not architecture. Enough that Proctor pretends to read ledger. She said, expected. He said, Caden will notice visit. She said, logged. Hostile observation would recalibrate around family courtesy. Family courtesy was visibility spent differently. Pren channel held through year 2s last week with redacted logs and combat practice variance and cluster B authentication anomalies phrased as architectural curiosity without node numbers in witness safe copies. Pren said at the annex on day 328, auditors closed file. Nova said, accepted. Pren said, Toryn marked senior review continuation. Nova said, expected. Pren said, the below threshold hole still opens. She said, I know. Partial patch. Grammar hole persists. Operational path still viable. Not breach. Standing. Doors. Rank 5. Move when people with rank and legal standing existed. Caden was not adjacent the night before Year 2's final examination review session. Caden had been scarce since Thursday aftermath, observation distance recalibrating, hostile log evolving, not enemy boundary stated without alliance. Nova noticed absence the way she noticed all his patterns. Filed. Not interpreted. Interpretation was visibility. Edwick appeared at the Dean's office bulletin on day 329 with a formal note thanking faculty for rigorous review of scholarship advancement irregularities. Dismissed concern dressed as institutional grace. Edwick diminished but not extinct. Sierra documented the bulletin chain, names, order, exact phrasing, witness template ready for fiction and fact alike. Nova taught variance bands at the annex for 2 hours on day 330 because teaching was kindness and cover and the half-life of good behavior still unresolved. Leora passed advanced theory continuation. Mara celebrated loudly. Seelan traded rumors quietly. Ordinary costume worn over map and catalog and 7 names in memory encoding. At night on day 330, she wrote in the notebook. Year 2 winding day 330. Head pipeline. Annex audit complete. Final supplementary review reproduced rank 4 tolerance. Final Year 2 report incoming. Crane. Year 3 advancement notation recommended. Theo visit scheduled day 331. Garden. Family courtesy. Grammar not map. Pren channel. Auditors closed file. Witness safe logs accepted. Sarah. Witness deployed for corridor fiction. Toryn. Perform careful for Theo. Caden. Scarce. Watching, no alliance. Edwick. Dismissed concern bulletin. 7 names held memory. 19 notes held. K. Vane Bay 4 Tier 2 locked. Public rank 4. Private contact rejection held. Rank 5 goal continues. Arc close approaching. Attribution. Notebook, Nova Vane. Year 2 month 5 close. She closed the notebook. A letter from the manor arrived by embassy drop, without operational words. Theo's hand. Short sentences. Deliberate pauses on paper. He wrote. 3 runs documented. Humidity logs attached. Emergent heat branch holds on run 3. Rian reads summary. Said precision is not visibility. I said I know. Visit confirmed. I will bring folio. I will not bring questions you cannot answer in a garden. Attribution. Letter, Theo Vane, Manor Schoolroom. Nova read twice. First read comprehension. Second read verification. Honest data, not prettied. She burned the letter after encoding. Burning was procedure. She wrote in cipher on a scrap Pren would not see. Theo, folio confirmed. 3 runs. Emergent heat. Rian. Precision not visibility. Visit day 331. Grammar not map. Witness. Proctor, attaché. Caden will notice. Crane pipeline will notice. Perform careful. Scrap burned. Memory held. Year 2 was winding to close. 7 researchers, 19 nodes, catalog in memory. Public rank 4. Private contact rejection compound still secret. Crane proud and problem. Head favorable with caution. Torn folio in drawer. Pren documentation channel. Sarah witness role operational. Caden watching without alliance. And Theo tomorrow. Brother word. Family courtesy costume. Standing pathways open. Rank 5 still goal not achievement. Legal access still required mother's text at Bay 4 Tier 2. Doors language waiting. She stood at the window facing capital inscription lights on low calibration heartbeat. Node correlations hummed in memory without palm contact. Embassy 12 summer. Academy 19. Connected infrastructure embedded in buildings. Suppression pattern with 7 faces. Operational picture formed enough to know move required rank, not enough to move. Year 2 would end. Year 3 would begin with advancement notation and equivalency review, and auditors satisfied and heads final report traveling and Crane's pipeline warm with pride. Theo would arrive with folio and humidity logs and brother grammar. Nova would perform careful, grammar not map, family not confession, survival not alliance. Not yet endgame, not yet confession, not yet move, but enough for tonight. Procedure held. She went to bed in short cycles, dreamed of clipboards and gardens and rank 5 doors not yet open, and woke before the alarm. Tomorrow would bring Theo. Year 2 close would follow. The work continued, not really about garden visits, but about what you showed family when full truth sounded like confession and careful truth was still more than the pipeline had extracted. She moved. The letter arrived on a morning when the capital smelled like rain that had not yet committed to falling. Nova read it at the scholarship annex table with porridge cooling beside her elbow and Pren's conductivity notes occupying the space where ordinary students kept gossip. The envelope bore manor wax, not embassy seal, Rian's choice or Theo's, she could not tell from outside. Inside, 3 pages in her brother's hand. Dense. Measured. The kind of writing that meant he had revised each sentence before committing ink. He wrote that the manor school term would end in 11 days. He wrote that Rian had approved a courtesy visit to the Academy inscription garden, 2 hours, family supervision loose enough to feel private. He wrote that he had something to show her and would not describe it in a letter that passed through attaché hands. He did not write self-adjusting loop. He did not need to. Nova read between the lines the way she read authentication grammar in stone, not the label, the function. She folded the letter once and slid it into her folio between legitimate humidity homework and illegitimate nothing, because illegitimate nothing did not travel on paper anymore. Memory and Cipher and Thursday Channel held what paper could not. Sierra said, good news or bad news. Nova said, Theo. Sierra's expression shifted, the particular adjustment of someone who had inherited a file about a brother who carried boxes under planters and did not perform grief on schedule. Sierra said, when? Nova said, 11 days. Mara said, will he stay in the capital? Nova said, 2 hours. Seelan said, that's not long. Nova said, it's enough if he's prepared. She meant prepared technically. She meant prepared emotionally only as a secondary variable she could not optimize from the academy side of a distance that had been growing since departure day and letters and one visit in year 1 when emergent heat had been the revelation and cipher. Fragments had traveled in cloth. Year 1 visit had been documentation. Year 2 end approached with a different weight. Public rank 4 sat on the board now, self-adjusting loop, ambient mana real-time adjustment, witnessed by Head and Toryn and Crane in the gallery where warmth had sharpened into pipeline. Private rank 4 compound remained unspoken. 19 anchor nodes remained unspoken in rooms with walls. 7 researchers remained spoken only in Torryn's office with door closed and names finally listed after months of pattern without identity. Restricted catalog remained in memory, 14 cipher acquisitions, 3 sever school texts, K, Bayonet Bay 4 Tier 2, location known, text unread because reading required standing she did not yet hold. Rank 5 was not ambition only anymore. Rank 5 was legal access. Rank 5 was doors. Rank 5 was the only answer that had stayed true when Toryn asked who had rank and standing before the map moved from documentation to operation. She had begun planning the path the way she planned breaches, not as fantasy, as sequence. Year 2 examination complete. Year 3 opened advanced theory tracks and faculty mentorship assignments, and the quiet machinery by which institutions decided who deserved keys and who deserved observation. Head's clipboard had already started asking different questions, not whether she was capable, whether she was directionally surprising. Favorable with caution had become the adjective pair she heard in corridor undertone when faculty discussed second-year outcomes. Crane had sent no new invitations since the examination. The absence was not peace. The absence was warmth resting in pipeline until the next moment pride required contact. Caden had been scarce in the weeks after formal assessment, not absent, recalibrated. Library Corel sightlines maintained. Combat practice rotation avoided overlap without explanation. The dormitory exchange at 10th hour past curfew still sat in her file like a live wire she had not grounded. 45 words, rank 5 legal access goal stated. Hostile observation evolving without forgiveness. Theo was not Caden. Theo was Brother Risk. Different category, different threat model, different obligation. Brother Risk meant capability without institutional cover. Brother Risk meant manner school progress traveling faster than public record assumed. Brother Risk meant Rian's wax on an envelope and a sentence that said he had something to show her. She filed brother visit approaching and returned to the day's ordinary costume. Advanced theory lecture where she performed comprehension without bleed. Scholarship annex where she helped Leora with humidity branch and did not calculate visibility cost because habit had started doing that calculation for her and she was learning to notice when the act became person. Library Corel cleared on exit because Toryn's caution had become muscle memory. Thursday office where Toryn said, family visit. Not question. Statement. Nova said, 11 days. Toryn said, what will he bring? She said, he didn't write it. Toryn looked at the ceiling. He said, assume documentation at minimum. Assume capability demonstration at maximum. Assume attaché reads garden sightlines. She said, assume Proctor pretends not to parse. He said, yes. Beat. He said, do not show him map. She said, I know. He said, do not show him catalog. She said, I know. He said, do not show him 7 names unless witness protocol exists and Rian is in the room. She almost said Rian would not be in the room. She said, witness protocol. Toryn nodded. Overlap not alliance held, counsel without command, shared danger without shared confession to institutions that filed readers. He said, rank 5 planning. Not question. She said, year 3 mentorship track. Head pipeline favors candidates with public stability and private novelty contained. I have one of those. He said, which one? She said, public stability is performable. His mouth tightened. He said, performable is not sustainable. She said, sustainable comes after standing. He wrote in his notebook, not her words, his translation. She did not ask what he wrote. Pren found her after office hour with failure mode consolidation for faculty channel review. Below threshold grammar hole still open. Perimeter revision 7 still partial. Cluster B authentication nodes cross-reference to catalog desk come without locations spoken aloud. Pren said, Toryn said year 2 close brings auditors who love documentation. Nova said, then we give them documentation. They worked until annex lamps dimmed. Documentation was procedure. Procedure was how you survived when pattern recognition became visible. At dinner Edwick was at the edge of the room again, diminished but not extinct, watching without useful filing, Dean Concern dismissed in Ciro's report and still persisting like mildew. Crane was not at dinner. Crane did not need to be at dinner to be present in pipeline. Head passed the scholarship table with clipboard and eyes that logged without greeting. Nova 8. Performed ordinary. Felt year 2's last week's settling like sediment, examination aftermath, advanced theory, no demonstrations, map in memory, catalog in memory, 7 names in Toryn's drawer and hers, Theo in 11 days. That night she opened the fault database and cross-referenced rank 5 requirements against public record. Night Scholar track, accelerated mentorship, combat inscription integration, restricted reading privileges upon faculty sponsorship. Scholarship track, theoretical depth, archival contribution, slower key issuance, more observation. Caden had chosen Night Scholar and stated rank 5 as legal access goal in 45 words. Nova had chosen scholarship visibility and performed second place until performance became untenable and rank 4 became public necessity. Paths diverged. Doors converged at rank 5 grammar, authentication loops that treated rank as credential and credential as permission and permission as the institution's favorite fiction. She wrote in the notebook, day 318. Year 2 month 5, end approaching. Letter. Theo visit 11 days, 2 hours inscription garden, something to show unspecified. Rian wax, manor routing. Toryn counsel, no map, no catalog, no 7 names without witness. Rank 5 path planning begun. Mentorship track. Head pipeline favorable with caution. Crane absence not peace. Public rank 4 stable. Private held. 19 notes held. Brother risk category filed separate from Caden watch. Documentation channel with Pren active. Year 2 auditors incoming for Toryn. Next, prepare for visit without over-preparing. Do not teach him breach. Do not teach him map. Teach him survival if capability exceeds cover. Under the mattress edge. Cipher key and head. The capital inscription lights pulsed low calibration heartbeat through the window. 11 days. Theo had learned to write letters the way their mother had written assumptions, carefully, with revision, with space for what could not be said in rooms that listened. Nova had learned to read letters the same way. Something to show. She did not speculate on paper. She speculated in memory. Emergent heat had been year 1. Cipher fragments had traveled in cloth. Year 2 end would bring something else. Capability traveled in families. That was the fear underneath the anticipation. That was the reason rank 5 planning and brother visit planning could not be the same document. She breathed until breath matched the light's pulse. Not yet visit. Not yet revelation. Enough to know the calendar had become operational. She went to sleep with the letter's date circled in her mind, and the garden's semicircle bench waiting 11 days out like a door she had not decided whether to open or guard. Theo arrived on a gray morning when the inscription garden stone held cold that climbed through boot soles, and the proctor at the gate checked manor credentials with the bored precision of someone who had filed 100 courtesy visits and remembered none of them. Nova met him at the iron gate. He was 15 now. The difference from 14 was not only height, though he had grown, shoulders widening the way theirs did when inscription work demanded stillness and stillness demanded structure. The difference was in how he carried the folio. Year 1 folio had been careful hands and cheap binding. Year 2 folio was careful hands and the posture of someone who had stopped treating paper as practice and started treating it as evidence. He said, Nova. She said, Theo. Not lady. Not heir. The word between them held manor hills and midnight garden lamps turned low, and the box under the third planter, and every letter exchanged across distance that institutions pretended was neutral. The attaché from the embassy stood at garden edge with attaché eyes, parsing without permission to intervene. The proctor pretended to read a ledger. Nova filed both as environmental variables and walked Theo to the semicircle of practice tablets, where Node 19 hummed 3 feet from the bench and pretended to be heritage maintenance. The capital air was dry. Static pulled at her hair when she adjusted her cloak. Theo set the folio on the largest tablet, same third from left surface she had used for midnight reinforcement work in year 1, smooth face, good resonance for careful grammar. He said, you asked for documentation. She said, show me. He opened to a page dense with measurements. Not emergent heat this time. Not light plus thermal sink documented in angry pencil variance tables. This was loop notation. Self-referential read layer. Conditional branch on ambient delta. Output adjustment continuous. Not stepped, not delayed. Recalibration in real time as levels shifted. Nova read it once for comprehension. She read it twice for verification. She read it a third time because her brother had not copied this from anything she had sent. The marginal notes were his humidity logs, mana expenditure, failure annotations in the handwriting that had matured without losing its habit of documenting honestly when data embarrassed the writer. Run 1, collapse at branch junction. Run 2, partial hold, variance spike on exhale. Run 3, full hold, loop self-correcting when she would have intervened manually in approved curriculum. She looked at him. He watched her face the way he had watched at 14 when good might mean approval or assessment. She said, you derive this. Not question. He said, yes. She said, without instruction. Pause. 3 seconds. His pause notation habit, deliberate, shorter than it had been at 14. He said, I had the foundational operations. I had your pause drills from year 1. I had humidity variance from the heat work. He paused again. I did not have a teacher who showed me the loop. Nova felt the garden's hum in her teeth. Node 19 under the retaining wall. Catalog memory humming harmonic overlap. Rank 3 work, fully self-adjusting loop, ambient mana real-time adjustment, The grammar she had demonstrated publicly at rank 4 examination dressed in examination compression. Theo had derived it at 15. Manor school pace placed rank 3 1 year ahead of standard track. 1 year ahead of what the Academy Board would have assigned a second-year student if that student were visible. Theo was not visible on the board. Theo was manor heir in a garden with attaché eyes and a folio that could become pipeline if the wrong person read the margins. She said, when? He said, 3 weeks ago. Stable since run 4. Run 4 he had not shown her. Stability across runs was the bar. He had cleared it. She traced the loop in air above the page without touching his ink. Authentication habit, protect data, do not smear what defense might require. She said, the comparison layer reads surface ambient, not room ambient. He said, I learned that on run 2. She said, good. One word. Precise. His shoulders eased 1 degree. Approval and assessment both then. She said, show me run 4. He turned the page. Run 4 held through attaché footsteps on gravel 30 feet away, ambient draw shift, loop adjusting, light steady on the tablet face where cipher ink would have shown purple-black if he had been using Academy materials instead of Manor gray-white. Manor gray-white still meant cipher complete at the core if the grammar was true. The grammar was true. She felt something cold settle behind her sternum that was not garden cold. Pride. Fear. The same compound. She said, don't show anyone else this. He looked at her. The pause before he spoke was longer. He said, why? She could have said attaché. She could have said proctor. She could have said crane. She could have said institutions file capability in heirs the way they filed capability in scholarship students, differently, same appetite. She said, because you have your mother's ability and some people have strong feelings about that. Theo's expression did not change the way younger children's expressions changed, surface still, eyes sharpening, the vain habit of receiving difficult information as data first and grief second. He said, what kind of strong feelings? She looked at the folio. At the loop that had derived itself in a manor schoolroom without Torryn's Thursday channel and without breach and without map. At her brother, who had found a box under a planter at 13 and had been carrying alone what she had been carrying with witnesses she chose under pressure. She said, the kind I'm trying to fix. Silence between them that was not the hypothesis. Silence that was garden air and attaché gravel and the proctor's pen not moving. Theo closed the folio slowly. He said, fix how? She said, not in a garden with 2 hours and an attaché who reports to people who read reports. He said, Rian. She said, Rian is not rank 5. He almost smiled. Almost. He said, you are not rank 5. She said, I'm closer than I was. True. Public rank 4. Private higher. 19 nodes in memory. 7 researchers in pattern. Catalog in memory. Rank 5 path planning begun. Not close enough for operation. Close enough for honesty in a garden with loose supervision. He said, what do I do with it? Not hide it forever. Not publish it. What do I do? The question of someone who had derived grammar without instruction and understood that derivation was both achievement and exposure. She said, document. Do not demonstrate. Keep running in private until I tell you otherwise. If manor instructors ask, you are working on approved pause notation and humidity variants from year 1 heat logs. He said, that's not false. She said, it's incomplete. Incomplete is cover. He nodded. Cover was a word he understood from manor politics if not from inscription theory. She pulled nothing from her bag this time. No cipher packet. No extended grammar cloth wrapped. Year 1 had been lineage transfer because he had emergent heat and needed framework. Year 2 was restraint because he had loop and needed survival. She said, the comparison layer, 1 correction. She showed him in air notation, micro-adjustment at the read junction that reduced variance spike when ambient draw shifted from human presence. He watched. He said, that's cipher grammar. She said, it's accurate grammar. Not denial. Not full confession. He filed the distinction. He said, our mother. 2 words. Not your mother. Their emphasis from year 1 Midnight Garden, insisting on shared fact, shared risk, shared box under planter. She said yes. He said, you have the same correction in your examination loop. Not question. Observation. Nova did not ask how he knew her examination loop. Manor received academy bulletins. Rian received summaries. Heirs received curated visibility of heir siblings' public achievements. He had watched her rank 4 confirmation from a distance the way she watched his manor progress from letters. She said, similar problem. Different cover. He said, I'm not on a board. She said, that's why you hide. The attaché shifted weight at garden edge, reminder that 2 hours was a budget. Theo repacked the folio. He said, will you come to manor? Not this term. Not soon. She heard the question underneath, will you come back? Will you stand where I stand? Will family be operational or only wax on envelopes? She said, when I have standing. He said, rank 5. She said, yes. He raised his hand at departure, not wave, acknowledgement, the gesture he had started at the end of year 1 visit when words had run out and bodies still needed to communicate. She raised hers. The gate closed between them with attaché on his side and Proctor on hers, and the garden pretending it was only teaching space. Node 19 hummed. She stood at the retaining wall after they left. Palm on stone. 94% vine pattern exception gap. Catalog memory match. K. Vein Bay 4 Tier 2 held for review. Her brother derived rank 3 loop at 15 without instruction. Mother's ability. Strong feelings. The kind she was trying to fix. She did not touch the folio she had not received. He had shown. He had not left copies. Good. She walked to the night tower without running. Running was visibility. At the desk, she opened the notebook. She wrote in the notebook, Theo visit, 2 hours inscription garden. Demonstrated fully self-adjusting loop, derived without instruction, age 15, rank 3 1 year ahead of manor pace. Stable run 4. Attaché present, Proctor present. Counsel given, document, do not demonstrate, cover as pause notation and humidity variance. Do not show anyone else, mother's ability, strong feelings, fixing in progress. No cipher packet exchanged. Comparison layer correction shown in air only. He noted examination loop similarity. Raised hand at departure. Brother risk upgraded from approaching to active. Capability exceeds cover. Separate from Caden category. Rank 5 urgency increased. Not confession to Toryn yet Thursday. Visit spent. Secret added to the ledger that was not the board. She breathed until breath matched hum. The work continued, his and hers in different rooms, same grammar underneath. She went to annex hours because ordinary costumes still mattered and visibility had spiked in a garden and the institution would file courtesy visit as family warmth unless she gave it scholarship ordinary to digest. Pren said, good visit. Nova said, productive. He did not ask productive how. Trust had learned limits. She helped him with failure mode template and did not think about loop notation in manner gray-white until the thinking could not be postponed. At night she lay awake and named variables without writing them. Crane would hear courtesy visit occurred. Head would file garden hours. Caden would not care about family unless family became evidence. Toryn would care on Thursday. Mother's ability in 2 children. Strong feelings in institutions that destroyed researchers who published innovation. The kind she was trying to fix. Not yet fixed. Not yet named. Close enough to fear. Close enough to work. She did not sleep for a long hour. Then she did. Procedure held. Tomorrow was documentation and ordinary and brother risk filed where map and catalog already lived, in memory, in cipher, in the gap between public board and private truth. The report that courtesy visit had occurred reached Crane before dinner. Nova knew because Edwick mentioned it in passing at the scholarship table, not Crane's name, not directly, the dean's habit of surfacing information as weather. Edwick said, family gardens draw observers. Nova said, 2 hours is short observation. Edwick looked at her with the diminished attention of someone whose filing had been dismissed and who still watched because watching was identity. She ate. Filed Crane interest germinating. Filed Edwick edge watch continuing. After dinner she climbed to the 7th floor and opened the fault database and created a new cluster tag with the discipline she used for live wires. Brother risk active. Subcategory, capability exceeds manner cover. Subcategory, rank 3 loop derived without instruction, age 15, not on any board. Subcategory: exposure vectors, attaché, proctor, Rian summaries, curated air bulletins, future instructors, future demonstration requests. Subcategory: mitigation, document private, demonstrate none, cover as pause notation, no cipher packet, correction shown in air only. She did not write loop notation on paper. Paper was seizure. Memory was procedure. She cross-referenced brother risk against 7 researchers' pattern, innovation praised or ignored, within 2 years career destruction, institutional review, accident, disappearance from curriculum citation. Theo had not published. Theo had shown her in a garden. One witness chain from attaché to embassy to Rian to whoever read Rian's reports to whoever Crane asked when pride required family intelligence. The chain was shorter than she preferred. She wrote in the notebook, post-visit filing, brother risk active. Crane interest, courtesy visit logged, expect standing pathway contact within days. Edwick, edge watch, family garden comment. Mitigation holding, Theo has no copies left in garden, folio returned to manor routing. Attaché vector active. Do not confide loop to Toryn until Thursday, witness protocol for myself first. Caden, not present, not informed, monitor for proximity if Ashvale tracks family visits as data. Head, garden hours will appear on clipboard. Public rank 4 unchanged. Private unchanged. Rank 5 planning, brother capability increases urgency, not strategy change. Mother's ability in 2 airs, threat model upgrade. Theo visit was 48 hours behind her. Crane's interest was ahead. She had learned to read ahead the way she read authentication grammar function, not label. Crane's function was cultivation. Crane's function was containment dressed as Godfather warmth. Crane's function was pride in a gallery that became pipeline when standing conversation opened doors language without legal access behind the doors. The note arrived on day 3. Cream stuck. Embassy seal. Hand she recognized from year 1 orientation warmth and examination observer pleasure. The message was short. The door is always open when family wishes to discuss progress. Not Theo specifically. Progress. The word covered heirs and scholarship students and anything Crane chose to discuss in a room with walls that listened differently than gardens. Nova read it twice. She folded it into the folio with legitimate homework. She did not reply. Replying was seen. Seen was visibility. Visibility was resource. She brought the note to Thursday office without bringing brother loop. Toryn read it at his desk with humidity homework between them as cover. He said, expected. She said, how expected? He said, courtesy visits generate summaries. Summaries generate interest. Crane's interest in vain children is older than your enrollment. Vain children. Plural. She filed plural without confirming loop. Toryn said, what did he show you? Not did he show. What? Thursday channel upgrading again. She said, capability. Torryn's pen stopped. He said, rank. She said, manner pace. Ahead. 1 word at a time. Truth without folio. Toryn closed his eyes briefly. He said, derived or copied. She said, derived. His breath left slow. He said, without instruction. She said, yes. Silence in the office that meant recalculation. Threat model, protection model, timeline compression. He said, who else knows? She said, attaché. Proctor who pretended not to parse. Rian by routing. Crane by summary unless attaché withheld, which attaches do not do when archivist asks. Toryn said, Crane asked. Not question. She said, I assume. He said, assume correctly. He wrote in his notebook. He did not show her. He said, do not accept door without witness. She said, Syrah. He said, Toryn first for inscription risk. Syrah for room risk. She said, rank 5. He said, still the answer. Beat. He said, your brother needs the same counsel you needed at 14. Document. Do not demonstrate. Do not trust manor instructors who report upward to people who file patterns. She said, I told him. He said, tell him again in letters without operational words. She said, Rian reads letters. Toryn said, Rian already knows what airs are. Write as humidity and pause. He will read between. Overlap, not alliance. Counsel traveling through channels that were not confession. She left office hour with caution upgraded and crane note in folio and brother risk integrated into pattern overlay. Caden appeared on the library's second floor that evening. Not coincidence. Caden's appearances had stopped being coincidence in month 6. He stood at the end of the corral row with more under his arm, not her more, his own copy, spine worn from actual reading. He said, family visit. 2 words. Hostile observation data point. Nova said, courtesy. He said, short. She said, 2 hours. He looked at her the way he looked at midterm tablets, when cipher bled through compression at edges, parsing, filing, not yet confronting. He said, did it change anything? Dry when deflecting. She said, did what change anything? He said, you. Family. The gap between public and actual. 45 words in dormitory had established that he knew gap existed. Family visit was him testing whether gap had widened. She said, no. Not true. True enough for corridor travel. He held her eyes 3 seconds. He said, rank 5 is still a long way if family keeps pulling attention. Not threat. Not advice. Observation with blade underneath, Caden's clock, Caden's legal access goal, Caden's hostility that had not become alliance and would not become alliance because forgiveness was not in his file. She said, family is not your variable. He said, everything visible is my variable when I'm trying to understand what you're running. 8 months of log. Garden hostility. Midterm. Combat practice. Head inquiry. More on desk. Restricted map in 40 words. Dormitory at 10th hour. Family visit in 2 words at Corral Row. She said, understand slower. He almost smiled. Almost never became smile with Caden. He left. More spine disappeared around the stack's corner. Nova stood at Corral until her hands stopped wanting to close into fists. Caden was not Theo. Caden watched for gap. Theo widened gap by existing with mother's ability at 15 in a manor schoolroom. Different threats. Same institution underneath. She cleared Corral. Exited library. Passed head in the corridor with clipboard, favorable with caution eyes. Tuesday hours already filed. Garden hours incoming. Head said, scholarship student vein. She said, master scholar. He said, family visits are noted in mentorship consideration. Not threat. Not warmth. Pipeline vocabulary. She said, noted. He walked on. She walked on. Crane interest. Head pipeline. Caden cluck. Brother risk. For vectors converging on the same girl who performed ordinary at dinner and held map in memory and had told her brother not to show anyone else because some people had strong feelings about mother's ability. Some people included archivist godfather. Some people included master scholar advisor. Some people included night scholar heir who could not forgive and could not look away. She ate porridge. Helped Mara shelve. Corrected Leora's branch without calculating visibility because habit and because correction was still the right thing when the right thing did not cost more than she could spend. Syrah said at lights out, crane note. Nova said, how do you know? Syrah said, embassy seal on cream stock is not subtle. Witness template approaching. Not yet room. Nova said, door language. No appointment. Syrah said, will you go? Nova said, not without protocol. Syrah said, Toryn first. Nova said, already went. Syrah said, then witness when door becomes room. Nova nodded. At the desk, she updated brother risk with Caden vector and head mentorship note and crane door language. She wrote in the notebook, day 333. Crane note received, door open for family progress discussion. Toryn counsel, do not accept without witness. Brother needs same documentation discipline, letters as humidity and pause. Caden, library corral, family visit logged, gap variable, rank 5 distance comment. Head, family visits noted for mentorship. Brother risk vectors, attaché, crane, head, Caden indirect. Mitigation holding. Do not demonstrate brother capability. Do not confide loop to Syrah yet, witness when necessary. Year 2 and 1 week. Rank 5 path unchanged, urgency increased. Next, ordinary costume. Thursday continues. Door does not open without protocol. Crane interest was not invitation, it was cultivation probe. Caden was not ally, but hostile log with accurate clock. Brother was not map, but capability with outstanding. She breathed until vectors sorted into file order. Not panic. Procedure. Year 2 end approached like weather. Auditors who loved documentation per Toryn, Pren consolidating failure logs, 7 names held in drawer and memory, 19 notes held, catalog held, hypothesis unnamed. Brother loop held in manor folio behind pause notation cover, Crane's door language held in cream stock without reply. Enough for tonight. She went to sleep with brother risk active and Crane watching and Caden recalibrating somewhere in the building with forged text open and eyes on the gap. She performed closed every day. The institution slept around her. The files did not. The framework would not assemble from a single source. Nova had learned that the way she learned breach, not one key, one sequence, one afternoon in restricted section. Assembly required overlay. Catalog memory against anchor map against mother's working margins against Torryn's pre-archive record against 7 researchers pattern against fault database intentionality fingerprint. Year 2's last week gave her nights for overlay. Days remained ordinary costume, advanced theory, annex hours, Corel cleared, no demonstrations, examination aftermath rhythm worn like a coat that fit because she had worn it long enough. Nights belonged to assembly. She started with catalog memory. 20 minutes in restricted section had not produced text on paper. It had produced indices, 14 cipher acquisitions with acquisition dates and suppression annotations in margin shorthand the archivist's clerks had not bothered to hide because nobody was supposed to read them without standing. 3 sever school texts with the same date cluster as curriculum removal references Toryn had shown in pre-archive folio. K. Vein at Bay 4 Tier 2. Locked, location known, text unread, entry hum matching inscription garden node 19 at 94% vine pattern exception gap. Catalog was not framework. Catalog was inventory of what the framework had consumed or hidden. She held inventory in memory and laid it beside anchor map. 19 nodes in academy jurisdiction and embassy summer, shared root grammar, authentication substructure, decorative camouflage, load-bearing claim probable false. Practice hall foundation corner, node 1, cluster B authentication. First discovery, unknown investigate becoming known enough. Eastern lecture wing basement junction, node 11, same loop family, restricted routing correlation. Library catalog desk, hum at handoff frequency, perimeter fault partner. Inscription garden retaining wall, node 19, K, vein catalog match, semicircle bench 3 feet from stone that hummed when ambient dipped. 12 embassy locations from summer, receiving hall, archive annex, guest wing freeze, load-bearing panels that pretended heritage. Complete enough. Toryn had said complete enough when she spoke 3 nodes aloud and held 16 in memory. Complete enough had become complete when Embassy 12 integrated with Academy 7 and authentication grammar overlaid restricted door subset and orientation sealing tell from enrollment tour. Nodes were not decoration. Nodes were routing. Routing implied system. System implied purpose. Purpose remained unnamed. She opened Mother's working notes, not originals, memory copy from year 1 drills and year 2 Toryn handoff and fragments memorized before seizure could take them. Kira Vane had written questions in margins where approved texts wrote answers. Why exception handlers removed from cluster C if handlers were load-bearing? Why cipher classified archaic if cipher found assumptions institutions preferred unfound? Why foundation panels carry authentication grammar if security is ward-based? Why Bay 4 Tier 2 if research was magnificent and incomplete? Questions rhymed with nodes. Questions rhymed with catalog acquisitions dated within 2 years of career destruction for names Toryn had finally listed in drawer with door closed. 7 researchers. For years of Toryn's investigation. Innovation published. Innovation destroyed. Same outcome shape. Different notation schools. Same institutional hand. She laid 7 pattern over 19 nodes over catalog over Mother's questions. The shape emerged. Not proof in a court head would recognize. Proof in the sense she trusted intentionality fingerprint, cross-surface convergence, dialect match across stone and paper, and locked bay entries. The framework was not taught. The framework was installed. Installed in heritage notation pretending tradition. Installed in curriculum gaps pretending pedagogical simplification. Installed in restricted section pretending security. Installed in anchor nodes pretending masonry. Installed in acquisition dates pretending archival housekeeping. The framework read buildings. The framework read operators. The framework routed permission. Permission was rank. Rank was credential. Credential was the institution's favorite fiction that became real when authentication loops accepted it. She had been reading the fiction since practice hall corner hummed in her teeth. She had been reading the fiction since restricted door opened below threshold. She had been reading the fiction since public rank 4 demonstrated self-adjusting loop in hall where Crane watched with pleasure that was not love. The hypothesis sat one word from naming. One word she had held back since cluster and tag in notebook without title. One word Toryn had referenced without speaking. Naming is midnight garden. Naming is erased. She did not write the word yet. Writing early made Crane's warmth sharpen. Writing early made Head's reports gain adjectives. Writing early made Caden's log upgrade from watching to confronting before standing existed. She wrote instead the assembly proof in cipher shorthand. Cross-reference table. Catalog acquisition dates aligned to node activation maintenance notation in Academy Foundation panels. Sever school text restrictions aligned to cluster C missing handlers in curriculum. Cipher acquisitions aligned to Mother's notation school and Toryn's overlap channel. 7 researchers destroyed aligned to innovation that threatened framework legibility. K. Bain locked aligned to node 19 hum and garden semicircle and bay 4 tier 2. Intentionality fingerprint, same hand or same institution, vaulted circles still unwritten on paper, shape held in memory. She drew connection lines in private cipher. Not map on paper. Map in head with notebook as compressed log. Toryn Thursday brought architectural question phrased as academic curiosity. She said, scholar, if authentication grammar appears at foundation panels and catalog desks and garden walls, is the grammar describing one system or many? Toryn looked at ceiling. Longer than usual. He said, one system is the parsimonious answer. She said, parsimonious is not the same as proven. He said, no. He said, what would proof require? She said, rank 5 read access. Mother's text. Node activation under observation. Witness protocol. He said, yes. Beat. He said, you are close to a name. Not question. She said, I'm close to knowing what I would do with a name. He closed notebook. He said, do not say it in my office. She said, I know. Thursday channel limits held. Overlap deepened without confession in rooms with walls. Pren brought failure mode consolidation for year 2 close auditors, below threshold grammar hole, perimeter revisions 7 partial, cluster B authentication documented without node location spoken. Pren said, is the map finished? Nova said, the map is finished enough. He said, what's next? She said, standing. He nodded. Documentation channel trusted without operational detail. Sarah asked at dinner whether she was sleeping. Nova said, enough. Sarah said, you're assembling something. Nova said, theory. Sarah said, bad theory or good theory. Nova said, accurate theory. Sarah watched. File revision. Not suspicion. Companion attention. Nova 8. That night she returned to assembly with Kira record Toryn had handed in second week of year 2, pre-archive document, research flagged, magnificent and incomplete quote traveling in memory. Magnificent meant cipher found what framework hid. Incomplete meant mother died before standing. Incomplete meant Bay 4 tier 2 held text she had not read. She overlaid Kira record against catalog entry, same acquisition year as 3 sever school restrictions, same margin annotation family as 7 researchers last published papers before destruction. Mother had been inside the pattern before the pattern destroyed her. Not accident. Not yet proven in pipeline vocabulary. Proven in Nova's assembly language. The framework understood cipher readers. The framework suppressed them. The framework installed nodes to watch buildings where readers learned. The framework offered doors to heirs it intended to cultivate. The framework filed scholarship students who performed surprise. The hypothesis nearly named itself in the space behind her eyes. One word. She breathed. Did not speak it. Did not write it yet. She wrote in the notebook, day 337. Framework assembly catalog plus 19 anchor nodes plus Kira record plus 7 researcher pattern plus vault DB fingerprint. Conclusion shape. Single installed system, not heritage decoration. Authentication grammar routes permission. Rank is credential fiction made operational. Cipher readers threat classified. Mother inside pattern before removal. Proof bar, rank 5 access, bay 4 text, node observation, witness. Hypothesis nearly named to hold until Midnight Garden Protocol. Toryn, parsimonious 1 system, do not name in office. Pren, map finished enough, standing next. Sarah, accurate theory. Year 2 end days. Season close approaching. The inscription garden waited in memory. Node 19 hummed from yesterday's walk past retaining wall. Practice hall node 1 hummed from first discovery. Unknown investigate long resolved into known component. Midnight would be soon. She lay awake and let the framework settle into place like stone finding load-bearing position. Shape complete. Name withheld 1 more night. 1 more day of ordinary. 1 more day of brother risk filed and crane door unopened and Caden clock ticking in library rows. Then midnight. Then garden. Then word. Then erase. She knew the sequence before she lived it. Assembly was done. Standing was next. Name was private until unmade. She slept 3 hours, enough to function, not enough to pretend rest. The tower breathed around her. The framework breathed underneath. Both pretended sleep. Both ran. Year 2 ended without ceremony. Last advanced theory session. Last annex hour with Pren's failure logs bound for faculty channel review. Last dinner where Mara asked whether year 3 tutoring fees changed and Nova said help more carefully and Celine asked whether rank 4 meant private study groups and Nova said study. Last clipboard pass from head with favorable with caution eyes that had become weather. Last Thursday with Toryn where he said, Year 3 opens doors faster than year 2, and she said, I'll be ready, and he said, be careful which doors, and neither named midnight. Then the tower emptied into summer rhythm even though summer was still weeks away on calendar. The psychological end when examination aftermath finally released its grip and students breathed like people who had survived a season the institution pretended was ordinary. Nova waited until psychological end became physical quiet. Midnight. Inscription garden. Lamp turned low. She had come here at midnight in year 1 for reinforcement practice and found Theo with pause notation. She had come here for rank 4 private compound written on stone that refused her hand until grammar completed. She came now alone. No attaché. No proctor. No brother. No Toryn. No Sierra. Witness protocol did not apply to naming what she already knew, only to acting on it. The garden at midnight was still in the particular way enclosed spaces were still when the capital slept, fountain basin dark, stone tablets pale, east wing wall absorbing lamplight at edges. The retaining wall hummed. Node 19. K. Vein catalog hum match. 94% vine pattern exception gap. 3 feet from semicircle bench where public rank 4 had been written in darkness months ago. 3 feet from where Theo had shown loop notation in daylight with attaché watching. The wall carried authentication grammar in ornamental loops, rank check syntax too tight for humidity allowance, conditional branches in vine patterns that should have been aesthetic. Heritage notation pretending tradition while routing mana through grammar embedded, where students practiced approved strokes and proctors pretended gardens were only pedagogy. She had found the first node in practice hall foundation corner, authentication subset in northwest loop, conditional branch in vine east of seal, exception gap too regular to be damage. Unknown investigate had become 19 mapped. 12 embassy summer. 7 academy year 2. Complete enough. Toryn had said complete. She pressed palm to retaining wall. Low frequency. Steady amplitude. Harmonic overlap with restricted door subset and catalog desk hum and practice hall node 1 and Eastern lecture basement node 11 and every site sharing root grammar that did not appear in approved texts. 19 anchor nodes mapped. She knew what they were. Not decoration. Not instructional freeze. Not accidental miscopy by tired masons. Components of installed framework, authentication substructure, routing layer, permission grammar made stone and wood and garden wall. She had read enough. Mother's working notes, questions in margins, magnificent and incomplete, cipher finding assumptions, framework hid. Restricted catalog in memory, 14 cipher acquisitions, 3 sever school texts, acquisition dates rhyming with suppression, K, Vein Bay 4 Tier 2 locked with hum matching stone under her palm. 7 researchers pattern, innovation published, innovation destroyed, same outcome shape, names finally spoken in Toryn's drawer with door closed. Fault database intentionality fingerprint, same hand removing exception handlers from curriculum and installing nodes pretending heritage. Toryn's parsimonious answer, one system, not many. Assembly complete. Framework understood. The framework read buildings and operators. The framework routed permission through rank credential fiction. The framework classified cipher readers as threat. The framework cultivated heirs and filed scholarship students who surprised galleries. The framework had consumed her mother before Bay 4 Tier 2 locked the text unread. The framework offered Crane's door language while Head's clipboard asked favorable with caution. The framework watched through Caden's log without forgiveness. The framework would receive Brother's loop if attaché chains failed and manor cover cracked. She understood what it was. She understood what naming would cost. She understood what acting without rank 5 standing would cost more. She opened the notebook. Private cipher notation, not classroom shorthand, not Torrens Thursday compression, the deeper layer she used when conclusion required one word and one word only. She wrote the conclusion. Silence. One word in cipher strokes that meant the framework's operational mode when readers threatened legibility, not absence of sound, structured suppression, nodes dormant until authentication cleared, researchers removed until curriculum forgot, heirs cultivated until cultivation became containment, doors offered until doors became traps. Silence was not peace. Silence was the system's favorite output when input was dangerous. Silence was what happened to 7 names. Silence was what Bay 4 Tier 2 enforced. Silence was what attaché summaries aimed for when gardens held capability. Silence was what she would have to break. And what she could not break tonight without witness and standing and mother's text and legal access and rank 5 grammar accepting her credential as real. She stared at the word. Cipher ink gray-white on paper in lamplight. The wall hummed against her other palms still pressed to stone. Node 19. Catalog memory. Mother's hum. Framework underneath both. The word sat on the page like a live wire she had finally named and immediately understood was too hot to carry in a notebook under mattress edge where seizure could reach. Naming was not proof. Naming was orientation. Orientation was necessary. Orientation was also exposure. She stared until the strokes stopped looking like language and started looking like target. Then she erased it. Methodical. Cipher notation unwritten stroke by stroke until paper held only ghost impression and her hand remembered shape muscle memory would retain regardless of erasure. Erasure was not denial. Erasure was procedure. Procedure was how you survived when you knew what you knew and could not yet act. She closed the notebook. Erased word traveled to memory beside 19 nodes and catalog indices and 7 names and brother loop in manor folio and Crane's creamstock door language and Caden's 45 words about rank 5 distance. Silence held in head where seizure could not reach without taking her first. She stood at retaining wall 1 more minute. Palm on hum. Not prayer. Calibration. Breath matched frequency. Not yet operation. Not yet confession. Not yet alliance with Syrah or Toryn or Pren in a room with witness template. Not yet mother's text from Bay 4 Tier 2. Not yet rank 5. Enough to know. Enough to erase. Enough to understand that breaking silence would require everything year 3 and beyond could build: standing, legal access, documentation that survived auditors, protection for brother, distance from crane cultivation, precision with head pipeline. Clock awareness for Caden. Thursday channel upgraded to operational only when protocol allowed. She took the lamp. Walked garden path without looking back at wall. The tower received her at first hour past midnight. Corridor empty. Scholarship floor sleeping ordinary sleep. She climbed to 7th floor. Room door closed. Desk lamp off. Notebook under mattress edge. Cipher key in head. She lay on bed. Did not sleep. Eyes open to capital inscription lights pulsing low calibration heartbeat through window. Year 2 ended in memory if not on calendar. The season closed in the space between written word and erased word. Framework named in head. Silence unwritten on paper. 19 notes mapped. Catalog integrated. Mother inside pattern. Brother outside cover. Crane watching. Head filing. Caden clocking. Toryn holding drawer with 7 names. Pren holding failure logs for auditors who loved documentation. Sarah holding witness template for when door became room. She lay still and let the tower breathe around her. The framework breathed underneath. Both ran while operators rested. She was not resting, she was orienting. Year 2 was complete in ledger. Year 3 and rank 5 and Bay 4 and operation waited like doors she had not yet earned. The enemy she had finally identified waited too far ahead, requiring witness, requiring keys, requiring everything she had assembled in nights and breach and garden and examination and brother visit and crane note filed without reply. She wrote nothing more tonight. Writing was done. Erasure was done. Sleep was not done. She stared at lights until gray pre-dawn softened the window and her body demanded motion it would not get from rest. She rose when corridor traffic began. Ordinary costume again. Porridge, annex, corral cleared. No demonstrations. Ordinary over map, ordinary over catalog, ordinary over word erased and word remembered. The inscription garden would hum whether she slept or not. The framework would run whether she named it on paper or not. She had chosen erase. She had chosen memory. She had chosen procedure until standing arrived. At breakfast Sarah said, "You didn't sleep." Nova said, "I rested." Sarah said, "That's not the same." Nova said, "It's accurate." Sarah watched file revision, companion attention without demand. Nova 8. The day began. Year 3 ahead. Rank 5 path ahead. Mother's text ahead. Behind her, midnight garden, palm on node 19, one word written and unwritten. Ahead, work. The tower moved into morning. She moved with it, not rested, but oriented. Enough.